Good morning, and welcome to Morning Manna. Today is Tuesday, December 22nd, 2020, and this is episode 3442. My name is Bruce Turner. Welcome to today's Morning Manna. Today's episode is titled, Come and See. Stay tuned. So as we get closer to Christmas Day, I wanted to make the rest of our episodes this week things that invite you into that Christmas season, the reason, the birth of the Christ child, the incarnation. In today's episode, I want to share with you something really special from a dear friend. His name is Jack Dunn. He's a care pastor at a Blue Ridge Community Church here in Lynchburg. He also leads a ministry called Acts of Himalaya, doing a tremendous work in bringing the gospel and God's provision to those in great need in Nepal, Himalayas, India, that sort of thing. And he wrote me or sent me a copy of an email that he had written to send to some of the people that he leads in ministry. It was so inspirational to me. I wanted to share it with you today. I would ask you to pray for Jack, for Acts of Himalaya, for his ministry as a care pastor. These are challenging days that we're living in, right? So this comes from the story that we read in the Gospel of Luke about the shepherds. Luke 2:16 says, "And they went with haste and found Mary and Joseph and the baby lying in a manger." The angelic chorus began to disperse. But to where? The three shepherds could only guess. Back to heaven? Eldad, still trembling in fear and excitement, turned to glance in the direction of Shalev, who had dropped to the ground and seemed frozen on his hands and knees, unable to move, sweat dripping from his face to the ground. Beyond him, Nakima was hiding among the sheep, and only his wild eyes could be seen from within the darkness of the cave. As Shalev began to rise to his feet, Eldad exclaimed, "Let us go over to Bethlehem and see this thing that has happened, which the Lord has made known to us." Shalev just stared at him as if looking right through him. Then as he began to reconnect with their present reality, his shaky voice responded, "But what about the sheep? If anything happens to them, our masters will punish us severely." "Shalev, did you not hear the bright angel? He said that our Messiah has been born this very day, and Bethlehem is right beyond those hills. The lad can stay with the sheep. Come, let us go and see the one that the Lord has promised since our father Abraham." Instantly, Nakima pleaded, "No, I want to come and see. Please, don't make me stay here." Still somewhat quivering, Shalev said, "Go and bring the lad to see what there is to see, and if you can even find him. There are countless stables all over the city, and why would the Christ be lying in a feeding trough?" Shrugging, Eldad started off across the pasture with the swift gait of a lifelong shepherd. The teenager had to maintain a slow jog to keep up with him. Only a few weeks before, Nakima started joining his uncle Eldad in tending the sheep at night. None of the stories that the two men shared and bragged about could even compare to this. What they were going to find in Bethlehem. He found himself wondering as they made their way down toward the city. It was the early morning hours by the time they approached the city, and the lights were now dim. Their hearts began to beat faster as they walked in the blackness lit only by the stars above. Nekima occasionally broke the silence to ask his uncle a question about the Messiah. Some questions Eldad could answer, some he could not, but they both knew instinctively that what had happened this evening would change the course of history, especially for their own people. They were now approaching some homes and fields around the city. The familiar aroma of animal stalls became stronger. They had no idea where to go, but it felt as though something were guiding them, almost steering them, as they encircled the outskirts of the city, which contained many inns and stables. The invisible force that was guiding them steered them past stable after stable until they were almost at the opposite side of Bethlehem. As they made their way around some cattle in a fenced yard, they could see up ahead a light shining on, and around a stable attached to the back of an inn. It was like no other light they had ever seen. It seemed as if the majestic light were emanating from the heavens, that it should have been lighting up the entire city. But it only manifested itself in a warm glow contained to the immediate area encircling the little stable. Their quick pace slowed as they approached the back corner of the stable. They rounded the corner quietly and stopped in their tracks. The structure had missing boards in the walls, the ground a combination of dry dirt and gravel. There was a small penned area with several sheep on the far side, and 2 donkeys were tied along the near wall, chewing their straw peacefully. The smell of manure was strong, but their attention was totally focused on the only other humans in sight. At the middle of the enclosure, in the midst of a livestock, sat a man with his back to them and a woman lying at his feet on a blanket. The light from above them appeared to be embracing the couple in a radiance that reminded them of the glorious vision from earlier in the night. Eldad and Nekima slowly moved around the donkeys, now able to take in the full scene of the stable. The man was leaning over something they could not see. The woman lying next to him had a look on her face that was a mixture of exhaustion and bewilderment. The shepherds now noticed that the supernatural light seemed to be focused on what the man was leaning over. Yet, where the light was originating was indistinguishable. Was it shining from the heavens, or was it emanating from this little stable? It was as if the source of the light were coming from both ends, inextricably linked, forming an intimate bond. The man was startled, and he turned to see the shepherds. His face was shining with the same bewilderment as the woman's. She rose up on her elbow to see what had alarmed her husband. As they all gazed into each other's eyes, there was no fear, knowing that they had been called by God to this place to witness something magnificent. Their eyes now drawn to the manger, the shepherds saw the newborn baby, wrapped in strips of linen cloth. He let out a faint cry as his eyes were struggling to open. Their hearts were pounding inside their chest, and they could scarcely breathe. The shepherd's legs became weak. Eldad fell to his knees, immediately followed by Nekima. They kneeled there, looking into the face of this infant for what seemed like seconds and an eternity in the same time. Finally, looking to the couple, Eldad broke the silence. We were visited by an angelic host that filled the field in front of our cave. A mighty angel told us that our Savior, who is Christ the Lord, was born this evening, and we were led here to this place. The woman smiled knowingly. They rose to their feet and slowly came closer to the manger, only to drop to their knees again just a few feet away, and they stared into the eyes of God. Father, thank you. Thank you that you so loved the world, that you gave your only begotten Son, that whosoever believes in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. Till tomorrow morning, this is Bruce reminding you to choose joy.